And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to him, وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى. And what is that in your right hand, O Musa? وَمَا تِلْكَ. And what is that thing that happens to be بِيَمِينِكَ, in your right hand, Ya Musa? So after assigning this great responsibility, وَأَنَا اخْتَرْتُكَ, I have chosen you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing Musa alayhi salam for this responsibility. That how are you going to go and convey? And for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks him, what is this in your right hand? قَالَ, Musa alayhi salam responds, هِيَ عَصَايَ. It is my asa, it is my staff, it is my stick. And what is the asa? Asa is the staff of a shepherd, the stick of a shepherd. Because it is thick and it's also very strong. It's also long. It's not like a small stick, but rather it is long. So this is my asa, Musa alayhi salam responds. And he says, أَتَوَكَّأُ عَلَيْهَا. Notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just asked him, what is this? And he says, it's my staff. And this staff of mine, what do I do with it? أَتَوَكَّأُ عَلَيْهَا. I lean upon it. أَتَوَكَّأُ from the root letters waw, kaf, hamza, which means to lean onto something. We're at the word muttaki'ina, one's reclining. So أَتَوَكَّأُ عَلَيْهَا, I support myself on it. I lean upon it. When I have to leap across something, or when I have to walk, I lean upon it. وَأَهُشُّ بِهَا, and I bring down with it. Ahushu from the root letters ha, sheen, sheen. And hush is to shake something that is light. Remember, huzzi, haz is also to shake, but that is to shake something that is strong, that is heavy, like a palm, like a tree. But over here, ahushu, I shake down what? The leaves. So I shake down, I beat down the leaves, biha, with it. For who? Ala ghanami, upon my sheep. So that the leaves can fall down, or so that the branches can become lowered and my sheep can eat from it. وَلِيَ فِيهَا, and for me in it are مَآرِبُ أُخْرَى, other purposes as well. Ma'arib is the plural of ma'rabah. And ma'rabah from the root letters hamza, ra, ba. Ma'rabah is such a need that has to be fulfilled. And in order to fulfill that need, a person has to plan for it. If he does not plan for it, that need will remain unfulfilled. Like for example, you have a need to eat. Now in order to eat something, don't you have to plan? What kind of planning do you have to do? You have to go get the grocery. If you don't do the grocery, will you be able to fulfill this need? No. If you just bring the grocery and keep it in your fridge, will you be able to fulfill your need? No. So planning has to be done. You have to put in some work. You have to do something in order to fulfill that need of yours. So it's a very important need for which work has to be done. So he says, I have in this asa of mine a lot of purposes, meaning a lot of needs I fulfill by using the staff of mine. Like for example, carrying food supplies and carrying water skins to drive away animals that are undesirable. So Musa a.s. gives an extensive response to indicate the many purposes he had for the staff. And also because he was talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's talking extensively. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best listener. The best listener. He is as-samir. You will talk to a person, sharing your problems with him, sharing your troubles with him. He will wait for you to stop. He will wait for you to hang up the phone, to put an end to the conversation. But you can make dua for an hour, for 2 hours. Allah is the best listener. Qala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, Alqiha, throw it down, Ya Musa, O Musa. Think about it. Musa a.s. told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about the many uses that he had of the staff. And Allah tells him, throw it. Throw it on the ground. He doesn't say why. Rather, Musa a.s. فَأَلْقَاهَا, he throws it down immediately. Without even asking, why? What's the reason? What's the purpose? Why should I throw it? It's so useful. And all of a sudden, فَإِذَا, at once, here it became hayyatun, a snake that was tas'a, that was moving swiftly, moving quickly. It was running. Hayya is from the root letters ha-ya-ya, and hayya is used for a snake. And remember, this word hayya is an ism jins, which means that the word hayya can apply to any kind of a snake, whether big or small, male or female. Any kind of snake. Just as the word snake in the English language. You use the word snake to describe any kind of snake. Isn't it so? So similarly, the word hayya is the Arabic equivalent of that. So all of a sudden, it turned into a snake that was running, that was moving very quickly, that was slithering. Qala, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa alayhi salam, khudha, take it, pick it up, hold it, wala takhaf, and do not fear. Don't be afraid, because sanu'iduha, soon we will return it, sirataha, to its condition, al-ula, the former one. Sirah is from the root letter sin, yara, and sirah, as you know, is the biography, the behavior, the conduct, the manner of someone. So over here, sirah gives the meaning of the manner. So we will return it to its former condition, to its former manner, meaning the way it was before. And what was its way? What was its condition? That it was a stick. So we will return it to being a stick, as you recognized it before. Now, and this is a great lesson for us. What is that lesson? That it's possible that you find something to be extremely useful for yourself, something extremely necessary for yourself, but Allah tells you to leave it. At that time, don't say why. Don't say what will I do? But it's so useful. I need it so badly. Musa alayhi salam gives such an extensive reply, and he says, وَلِيَ فِيهَا مَآرِبُ أُخْرَى. At the end he says, I have many other uses that I cannot mention over here, but many, many. So something so useful, but Allah told him to leave it, to drop it. Why? Because Allah knows the reality of things. He knows what He wants from us. He knows what is good for us. And we have limited knowledge. And at this point, a person must have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if my Lord is giving me this command, it has to be good for me. And he must obey without any hesitation, without even asking why. And this is what Musa alayhi salam did. And look at what happened. It turned into a snake. And then when he's afraid, he doesn't want to come close to it, he ran away from it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, pick it up. Do something you don't want to do. Go against your desires. Why? Allah is telling you to. So what do we see? That obedience to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an obligation. Whether it appears to be harmful, it appears to be useless, it appears to be dangerous, whatever. You have to obey. Because when you will obey, then you will see the benefit. And if you stop there, if you become hesitant over there, then you're going to deprive yourself of khair. Another miracle Musa alayhi salam is given. And what is that? وَضْمُمْ يَدَكَ, and draw in your hand. Udmum, from the root letters, Dad, Mim, Mim, and Dam is Jam', together. So, udmum yadaka, join your hand. Draw in your hand. Ila janahika, to your side. What is janah literally? Wing. Wing of what? Of a bird. But the word janah is also used for the wings of the angels. So what is it? It's a wing. And for human beings, the word janah is the side, the flank, the arm. Remember I told you the different meanings of the word janah? So for a human being, the word janah applies to his side, his arm. So وَضْمُمْ يَدَكَ إِلَى جَنَاحِكَ, join your hand, draw in your hand to your side, meaning put it under your arm. Put your palm under your upper arm. So in other words, put it in the armpit. تَخْرُجْ, it will come out, بَيْضَاء, as white, extremely white. بَيْضَاء is from the root letters, بَيَضَاء, and بَيْضَاء is used for something that is white, that is radiant, that is almost shining with light. So it will come out بَيْضَاء, مِنْ غَيْرِ سُوء, from other than any disease. Meaning it's not that your hand will become diseased because of which it will turn extremely white compared to the color of the rest of your skin. Like for example in leprosy, or because your hand is on fire or something like that. No, you will not be suffering any kind of su in your hand, but still it will be shining, it will be bright. And this is ayatan ukhra, this is another sign, another miracle. So what was the first miracle that he was given? Of the staff. And the second miracle? Of the hand. لِنُرِيَكَ, so that we may show you min ayatina, from our signs. Al-Kubra, the greatest ones. Al-Kubra is a feminine of akbar. So that we can show you some of the greatest signs of our qudra and of your risala, of your messengership. Now specifically, the duty is being given to him, and he is told, idhab, go to. Ila fir'auna, to Fir'aun. Why? Because innahu tagha, indeed he has transgressed. Go to him and those people who are with him. Why? Because Fir'aun has committed great transgression. What was the tughyan? What was the transgression of Fir'aun? First of all, that he has crossed his own limits. And he had claimed to be a god. When he said, Ana rabbukum al-a'la. I am your greatest Lord, O my people. And secondly, his transgression was also against who? Against the Bani Israel, where he had enslaved all of them. Now this was not an easy task. To go to Fir'aun and tell him to believe and submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this was not something easy. Because Fir'aun had claimed to be God. And if you're telling him to submit, and considering what a great tyrant Fir'aun was, this was something extremely difficult to do. And on top of that, this was especially difficult for Musa a.s. Why? Because Musa a.s. had left Egypt in order to save his life. Because by mistake he had killed a man. And he found out that Fir'aun and his people were trying to kill him. So Musa a.s. had left Egypt out of this fear of Fir'aun that he was going to kill him. Now imagine, he was going to go face the enemy that was in search for him. Musa a.s. was like the wanted man. And now he's told, go back. And don't just go back over there, but tell Fir'aun to submit to Allah, to change his religion. Just imagine. Now Musa a.s., what does he say over here? He asks Allah for help. And he says, Qala. He says, Rabbi, O my Lord, Ishrah, open up, expand, li, for me, sadri, my chest. Expand my chest for me. Ishrah is from sharaha, and sharaha literally is to cut something. It's used for cutting meat. Because when you're cutting meat, what happens? You open it up, you spread it out. Just imagine a huge piece of meat. As you're cutting it from the side, you open it up, you expand it, and then you eventually cut it into smaller pieces if necessary. So, ishrah is to open up something, to expand something. Because when you expand something, only then you can put something else inside it. If it's small, if it's tight, you will not be able to put anything inside. So, ishrah li sadri, open my chest for me. Expand it. Make it big, make it vast. Why? So that I can fully comprehend, I can fully understand what I have to convey. Because if you don't understand yourself what you have to convey, then it will be impossible for you to convey. Imagine you're telling a child about a story, you have not fully understood that story yourself, and he asks you a question in the middle. What are you going to say? I don't know. What will he think? She doesn't know anything, and here she is telling me. Don't trust her. So you have to fully understand what you have to convey. And also open my chest for me, so that I have the confidence, I have the courage, I am content with it, I am confident about it. Because if I am not confident about this message, I will not be able to convey. And also open my chest that I am not afraid of Fir'aun and his people. So whenever you feel that you have to speak in front of someone, you have to tell them about something, and you feel that you don't have that confidence, you feel that you don't fully get it, then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. Ask Him for help, that, oh Allah, open my chest for me. Remove this fear from my heart, so that I can be at ease, so that I can relax. What I know, I can fully convey. Because remember, even if you know something really well, you know it thoroughly, and you're afraid, you will not be able to convey. You will leave out the most important things even, because you're nervous, you're worried. So, ishrah li sadri. وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي, and ease for me my task. Which task was he given? To convey the message to Fir'aun, the tabligh of Risala. I cannot perform this task without your help. I need your help. Therefore, make this work easy for me. Remember, ease does not mean simple. That you give it one shot and there it happens immediately. No. Ease means taysir, yusr means when a work when doing something is facilitated for you. When you're provided all the means to do it. It may require effort. It may require several attempts. But it is possible for you to do it. And this word is derived from يَسَّرَ الْفَرَسَ لِلرُّكُوبِ, that the horse has been prepared for riding. What does it mean? That the horse is trained, the saddle is on, everything is ready. You have to go, have the courage and go sit on the horse. And when you will sit on the horse, perhaps the horse will not listen to you. Or perhaps you will be afraid of giving instructions. Perhaps you will find it difficult to ride the horse. Perhaps you will have to take many attempts, but the horse is ready. Now you have to try. The work is facilitated for you. You have to try. So when Musa a.s. prays, Yassir li amri, it does not mean make it so simple for me that I go talk to Fir'aun and he becomes a believer right there and he says, yes, Bani Israel can go. No. Taysir means make it possible for me. Yassir li amri. Give me the ability to do it. Provide me the means to accomplish this task. Give me the courage. Give me the steadfastness. Give me the endurance. Give me the supporters. Give me the help that I need in order to perform this task with success. And remember, you need the assistance both internal as well as external. You need the internal courage and determination, and you need the external assistance as well. So, yassir li amri. Provide me with both internal as well as external assistance. And remove all the obstacles, whether internal or external. Wahlul, and untie, open up, uqdatan, knot, min lisani, from my tongue. Open up this knot that is in my tongue. Uhlul is from the root letters ha, lam, lam, and halla, yahullu, literally means to untie something. And then from this the word is used for halal. Because when a food is halal, what does it mean? There is no restriction upon you. You can eat it. You can enjoy it. And when something is haram, there is a restriction upon it. It's forbidden upon you. So wahlul, and untie, open up this uqda, this knot, that is min lisani, that is in my tongue. It is said that Musa a.s., he was not entirely fluent in speech. He had a physical disability that prevented him from speaking fluently, that prevented him from speaking with ease. We learn in Surah Al-Zukhruf, ayah 52, that Fir'aun said about Musa a.s., Am ana khayrun min hadha alladhi huwa mahin, wa la yakadu yubin. He said, or am I not better than this one who is insignificant and hardly makes himself clear? So Musa a.s. was unable to speak fluently. In Surah Al-Qasas, ayah 34, we also learn, وَأَخِي هَارُونَ هُوَ أَفْصَحُ مِنِّي لِسَانًا. Musa a.s. said, and my brother Harun is more fluent than me in speech, in tongue. In Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayah 13, we learn, وَيَضِيقُ صَدْرِي وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي. And my breast tightens and my tongue is not fluent. Meaning, I find it very difficult to speak fluently. So this is why Musa a.s. is praying to Allah to grant him fluency in speech. Because when it comes to da'wah, fluency in speech is very necessary for good communication, for effective communication. So having good communication skills, good speaking skills are necessary. But we see that despite the fact that Musa a.s. was unable to speak fluently, still Allah chose him. What do we think? Because I don't know how to talk, I don't know how to communicate properly, this is not my first language, I'm not really an expert in this language, therefore I cannot convey the message. So we see that still Allah chose him. What does it show to us? That good communication skills, fluency in speech, yes, this is something very important, but it is not everything. What is important, what is necessary is sharh sadr. That when a person fully understands a concept, when it has penetrated his heart, when it is in his heart, because when a person has fully taken something inside, then he will be able to convey, even if he does not speak the same language, even if he's not an expert in that language, he will be able to convey. So he says, وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي, that you assist me in speaking fluently. And this will come. You understand fully, you give it your best, You have a burning desire in your heart to convey, and Allah will inspire you with words. He will give you the ability to speak fluently. You see, there are so many people who are unable to speak properly otherwise, but when they're reciting the Quran, when they're giving the adhan, when, for example, they are giving a lecture, when they're speaking for the deen, you will not find even a single mistake. You will not see them stuttering. You will not see them finding it difficult to speak. So we see that the main thing is sharh sadr. When that is there, then the tongue is untied by the help of Allah. And why does He want His tongue to be untied? يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي, so that they can understand my word. His objective is not, because if I make mistakes then I will be embarrassed. People will begin to laugh at me. No, what's His objective? That I should be able to convey properly. That people should be able to understand. Because a person whose focus is to convey the message, then his eyes are not on himself. His eyes are on the message. He will forget himself. He will ignore himself. His focus is that I should be able to convey properly. So he says, يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي, so that they can understand my speech. وَجْعَلْ لِي, and appoint for me, وَزِيرًا, a minister, a helper, مِنْ أَهْلِي, from my family. He asks for support now. That grant me a supporter from who? From my family. And who is that supporter from my family? Harun akhi. Harun, my brother. Make him my supporter. Make him my assistant. Make him my wazir. Who is wazir? Wazir is from the root letters waw zaira, wizr. And wizr is a burden, a heavy weight. And wazir is one who carries the heavy burden for you, the heavy weight for you. This is why the word wazir is also used for the secretary or the minister, because he is carrying the burden of the king or the president or the boss. The boss is going everywhere, and here the secretary is doing all the paperwork. The secretary is taking all the phone calls. Correct? So the secretary takes all the burden. Why? So that the boss can do their work properly. Because when you have these little things to do, it makes you less productive. So وَجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي, grant me a minister from my family, هَارُونَ أَخِي أُشْدُدْ بِهِ, increase through him azri, in my strength. Through him, increase me in my strength. Azri. Azri is from the root letters Hamza, Zai, Ra. And azr literally means back. And from this is the word izar. And izar is the lower garment which a person ties around his lower back. So from this is the word azr. And azr is also used for strength, for help, for support. Because your back, especially your lower back, is a big support for you. If a person has the slightest pain over there even, something's wrong with the discs over there or the tailbone, how difficult it is for a person to move, to walk, to lie down, to sit up. It's impossible. So azr is strength. So ushdud bihi azri, through this brother of mine, increase my strength. Increase my strength so that I am able to convey the message. Wa ashrikhu, and let him share fi amri, in my task. How? That make him a prophet as well. Now this is something very strange. Think about it. Someone is given a very high position, and he says, grant me a supporter who will help me in my work. Generally we think supporter is someone who is lesser than you. But Musa a.s. says, Ashrikhu fi amri, give him prophethood as well. Who can be so open-hearted? Who can be so well-wishing? The one whose focus is the work and not himself. He wants the work to be accomplished. He realizes that this work is a difficult work. It's a challenging work. It's a huge task. And he needs help for that. He cannot do it alone. And he's not concerned that, if he's also given prophethood, then my status will become less. No. He realizes that this work is extremely necessary. I need help. Yes. Give my brother a share of this as well. Make him a prophet of Allah as well. So the one who understands the responsibility, the one who understands the importance of the work, only he can share the work with others. Typically, what is our behavior? If we find out about something, if we are given a task to do, we will hide it from others. Because if they find out about it, then they will also do it. This is very selfish attitude. This is not correct. If you want good for yourself, you also want it for others. If you think that your work is important, you want it to spread. You want it to increase. You don't want that you're the only one doing it. So, أشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا, so that we may exalt you much. Okay? It's حرف تعليل. Meaning, make him my supporter, make him my helper, and give him prophethood as well, so that both of us together can exalt you much. Both of us can do your tasbih. What does this tasbih refer to? The worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Literally doing tasbih of Allah. So, كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا. Because what happens? If a person is doing something alone, and let's say he's doing the dhikr of Allah, after some time he'll forget. But if he's doing the work with somebody else, if he stops at tasbih, the other person begins. This way, constantly, the dhikr of Allah is being done. So, كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا. And we can remember you much. Because when two people are together involved in something, then they will end up remembering Allah more. Whereas if a person is doing a work individually, alone, then he will forget after some time. So, وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا. We can remember you much. It is also said that tasbih is referring to personal remembrance of Allah, and dhikr is referring to da'wah, to tabligh. So therefore, appoint my brother as a supporter for me. إِنَّكَ, indeed you, kunta, you are, bina, of us, basira, ever seen. You are watching us. You know our circumstances. You know our condition. You know our situation. You know what we need. You know our shortcomings. You know our limitations. Therefore, O Allah, help us. Assist us. Do not abandon us. Be with us and support us. Now, and this is a very important lesson as well. That when a person is doing something for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what should he remember? That my Lord is watching me. Because sometimes we want that our work should be acknowledged by other people. We want them to know how hard we're trying, how much work we're doing. But if you remind yourself that whether people see or not, Allah is watching me, that's enough. I did this for Allah and He has seen it. If I did this for other people, then this work is useless. If I did it for Allah, then Allah has seen it. So why should I expect praise and acknowledgement from other people? I don't need it. Because إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا. Oh Allah, you are watching us. You are basir over us. And إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا also gives a meaning of that you have been so gracious to us. You have been watching us for all this time, and you have taken care of us in the past, so also assist us in the future. إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا. You have been ever seeing, ever observant of us. So also take care of us in the future. Assist us in this work that you have given us. We listen to the recitation and then we'll continue. Make you lose your vocabulary, to make you lose your fluency, to make you forget what you know. This is why he prays to Allah, قَالَ رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي. And sometimes it happens that you go somewhere, you're going to speak to someone, and there you find this one person, and all your confidence goes down the drain. This one lady, this one person, and you're like, I can't talk anymore. And if you think about it, we are able to talk otherwise at home with our friends, but when it comes to talking about the deen, when it comes to telling somebody about the deen, we become extremely nervous over there. We're like, how do I speak to them? What do I say? At that time, pray to Allah. Oh Allah, Rabbi shrah li sadri. Open my chest for me. Tell me what to say. Make me understand. Make me say the right thing. Give me confidence. Take this fear out of my heart. وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي. Facilitate this for me. And grant me a supporter as well. وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي. This is also very important, because it's possible you're talking to someone and there's just one person who comes and confirms what you're saying. Isn't that a big support? Huge support it is. Even if one person says, yes, what you're saying is right, it gives you so much confidence. And if even one person opposes you, it can ruin, it can completely finish your confidence. So grant me a supporter as well. And ushdud bihi azri. And notice how he says, my brother, from my family. Because you're most comfortable with who? Your family. Your own siblings. You have grown up with them, you have played with them, you have studied with them, you've done so many things with them. So you're most comfortable with them. And in Surah Maryam, what did we learn? Taking your family along with you. And over here we see the same thing as well. That Musa alayhi salam is taking his brother along with him. That he shares this work with him. Because when you get support from your family, then you can really excel in your work. You can really do a lot. And if from your family you don't get support, then it becomes a constant struggle, very difficult. So ask Allah to give you supporters from your family, to make those who are very close to you your supporters and not your opponents. Because when they will support you, it will become easy for you. There are different works that can be done, different types of things that can be done for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to serve the deen. We see that Musa alayhi salam was the main in charge, and then Harun alayhi salam, his status was also a prophethood, but he was under the authority of Musa alayhi salam. So there are many different things that a person can do, many different roles that a person can play to serve the deen of Allah. And if a person's goal is to attain the pleasure of Allah, then he will remember, إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا. Whether people see me or not, whether I'm sitting in the back room, nobody even knows my name. And here I am working for so many hours, nobody acknowledges my work, nobody praises me. I should realize that Allah is watching me, and that is sufficient. إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا. Also we see something very important over here. That Musa a.s. is asking for a supporter. Why? So that he can have someone to talk to? So that he can have someone to have fun with, to hang out with? Why? كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا. We learned earlier that many people refrain from coming closer towards the deen. Why? Because they don't like loneliness. They don't like being alone. They love being with people, having fun, talking all the time, chatting all the time, hanging out with other people. But we see that Musa a.s., if he wants company, it's so that he can increase in the worship of Allah. كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا. Because good friends, they will encourage you in doing more good. Instead of making you waste your time, they will encourage you, they will motivate you in doing good things. So these are the kind of friends that we should be looking for. This is the kind of companionship that we should be seeking out for. Also, one more very important thing, that along with the work that a person is doing for the deen of Allah, regardless of what work it is, whether it is in the front, or it is talking to people, or it is at the back, any kind of work, what is essential? The dhikr of Allah, the tasbih of Allah. Because many times people take the work of the deen also as a job. This is just my duty. I get paid for it. I get to volunteer for these many hours, so this is the benefit that I get, and khalas, that's it. And there is no spirit involved. We see that the work of the deen, yes, it's work. Yes, it may be a job. You may be getting money for it. However, there must be spirit over there. There must be the worship of Allah. A person must be doing it with dedication, glorifying Allah, praising Allah, thanking Allah, that, oh Allah, thank you for this opportunity. I could have been working elsewhere, perhaps making the same amount of money, perhaps making more. But glory be to you, you gave me this chance. So when a person is doing the work of Allah, regardless of what it is, whether it is standing at a bookstore, or it is at the cafeteria, or it is marking test papers, what should he remember to do? Tasbih of Allah, dhikr of Allah. Because that is what will keep you focused. That is what will remind you of what your mission is, what your purpose is, what your objective is. So we see that Musa a.s. is responded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qala, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, قَدْ أُوتِيتَ. In fact, you have been given su'laka, your request. Ya Musa, O Musa. Su'l gives the meaning of mas'ul, meaning that which has been asked for. The matlub, that which has been sought for. So you have been given, you have been granted your request, O Musa. Meaning everything that you requested, all of your prayers, رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي. All of these requests have been granted. They have been fulfilled. They have been given to you. And this is not something strange.